Alright, we're gonna try to remove the EGR system today out of this 280Z. It's leaking, it's cracked all the way at the bottom, as you can see. And anyway, we don't need it, so we want to clean up some of these hoses and all this mess, and we'll start with that. Okay, remove the hose on the top, and then I remove those two bolts. Each one is 13 millimeters. And once this thing comes off, comes with the gasket. This body, I had to hammer it to come off, but it slides up, as you can see. It was pretty stuck, so I just hammered it around, and now it's free. This heat shield had two 10 millimeter bolts, like this one. They were not too rusty, thankfully. But I bet this tend to get super rusty. Here it is. Now we're gonna try to remove that pipe that is cracked, and hopefully these studs, which I'm not sure how to remove them. In the process of trying to remove that tube down there, I realized that it's so hard, so rusted and so seized together that I don't have enough leverage with the tools that I have, and I don't want to round the bolts. I'm trying that one too. So there's a little pipe right there that goes around with a hose to this device. You can see it from that side. Kind of goes down and into that EGR connection. So I'm gonna remove this, remove the hoses, remove the bolts, and probably cut the line right before the nut, and then I can put a full wrench or just a socket. And probably same thing down there. I'm going to cut the line and then try to come from the bottom with an extension and put a socket in the hopefully that'll be able to remove those two nuts without rounding them. We'll give it a shot. Find a good way around. Once I remove the device, the vacuum device that I was showing you, you have access to the line, and I actually run the wrench through the line until I got to the bolt. Unfortunately, I broke the bolt, and so yeah, I didn't get to round it, but I broke it, so I still got problems. We'll try to probably cut it and maybe weld it shut. We'll see if we get better luck with the pipe down there. I like to use this technique when I put a very thin paper over the piece that I want to create a template on. Just put pressure. Well, I'm using my hand for the camera, but one hand can hold the paper and the other one just pretty much put pressure and scrubs around the surface of the paper. And see, since you have dirty fingers, or at least myself have dirty fingers, you can see the shape of the surface that you're trying to create the template. So now you can just cut this and put it into metal. All right, with the pipe removed at the bottom and the bolt removed, welded it shut. And then this one, I was gonna try to remove it, but I couldn't. And then I thought, let me weld it shut, but it's pointless because I realized that this section of the intake is hollow, where the two airflows were gonna meet was actually on the EGR valve, which we already removed. So that piece of the intake manifold is just a hollow passage. So in fact, we can even cut that piece of the intake manifold back and still be fine, but I was just feeling lazy, so I just made this little plate, put some silicone, because we don't really need a high heat gasket. It's not gonna see heat no more. And found a couple bolts that fit the original studs, which, by the way, I found out that they're just threaded, nothing fancy, but just threaded. So I just clamped on the shaft and thread them out. And yep, now we have the area a lot more clean. We removed the diaphragm that actuated the EGR, and so it looks a lot cleaner. We'll probably remove this. I'm not sure what it is. I think this was the cruise control, based on the fact that it's touching the throttle shaft thing. So, but it's all, the hoses are all rotten and gone, so I'm gonna remove that too, make it look cleaner. But there we go. I think that's all we need for the EGR.